Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about expectations, specifically around expectations that you have for other people. Now, I'm sure you've had this experience. Like all of us, many of us have had this experience with others, and I'm sure others have had this experience with us. When there's been an expectation of something being done or supposed to be done, whether it was verbally communicated or not, and that thing was not done. So one of the common things that I see is in the workforce when managers expect things from their team members, and as well in relationships, when one spouse is expecting things from another spouse, or when you expect things from your kids and you think that they should know better. Now, I want to save you a lot of heartache, because you can knock your head against the wall for a very long period of time trying to understand this, especially if you're a person that follows through with things yourself proactively. That's a difference. And I don't like to put people in buckets, but there typically are two types of people out there. There's people that actually proactively do things without them being asked, and then there's people that don't. And you can get both people to do things. It's just that you have to take a look at it from a different lens and a different approach. So you save yourself a lot of headache. Those that proactively do things, you typically don't have to ask them twice. You don't have to hold them accountable. They have this internal, you can say, radar or alarm that goes off that says, I should be doing this and I need to follow through with this. Otherwise, I don't feel good about myself. The other type of person doesn't really have that internal radar. They don't really have that internal signal. Therefore, you have to follow through or follow up with them in order for them to follow through. And sometimes you may even have to hold them accountable. Why is this important? Because if you have expectations for both type of people, expecting both of them to do what you want them to do, well, hopefully I said that correctly, expecting them to do what you want them to do, you're going to be sorely, sorely let down. Because that one group will do the things without you asking. The other group will not, and you will have to follow through. But here's what I want you to remember. I don't want you to lower your standards. This is something that I learned the hard way. Throughout my entire life, I've heard this and this comment. And this comment was really around, hey, Purdeep, you have really high expectations. Most people can't meet those expectations. And I really scratched my head there for a while. And I thought, yeah, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something wrong with my level of expectations. But here's what I realized is that there are two types of people, and both people are great. I'm not saying one is good and one is bad. Both people are great. They just have a different way of approaching things. The people, and this is the majority of people, most people are not proactive for themselves and doing things for other people. So if you're expecting people to do things for you, you're going to be sorely mistaken, as I mentioned before. Those are the people that kept telling me, hey, Prodeep, you know what? You have high expectations. Whereas the people that were proactive, they're I'm going to say few. They're there, they exist, but they're a lot less, you can say, frequent, and there's fewer of them compared to the ones that are not proactive. And so I had to do some internal searching, and here's what I learned, is that you do not have the right to expect something of someone else. You don't, because that's just not how the world works. They have their own free will until they commit to it. So either group of people, the ones that are proactive or not proactive, if they commit to doing something that you've both agreed upon and agreed upon the parameters, now you can fully expect them and hold them accountable to do it. So what does that mean? That means that if you're trying to get your spouse to do something, or you expect your spouse to do something, your kids to do something, your coworkers to do something, your employees to do something, don't expect them to do it until they've committed to doing it. And once they've committed to doing it, then you can hold them accountable. Then you can talk about the pros, the positives that can come. So the positive consequences that come as a result of them doing it. And then you can also talk about the negative consequences of them not following through and doing it. But if you try to have negative consequences before they've committed, it's not going to work in your favor. A lot of people will actually rebel. But again, once they commit, you have every right to hold them accountable. So that is your mind shot for today. Look at something, some challenge in your life that you're facing right now that continues to happen, where you're looking at that person and saying, and this includes you, because until you commit to something, you're not going to follow through either. But look at that situation and say, you know what? This person is not doing what I expected them to do. And identify which camp they are in, either the proactive one or the not so proactive one. And then try to determine why they aren't doing it and see if you can find a different approach to get them to commit. Right? I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm just saying, hey, this is what we need to do. This is how I think it should be done. What do you think? What are your parameters? And once they say, yeah, I'm totally comfortable with this, I commit to this, then you can hold them accountable. And you may even have to come up with negative consequences. So that's your mind shot. Pick something in your life where it's not working out that great, whether it's business or life, and see if you can get them to commit and then hold them accountable. I hope this helps, and I wish you the very best. Take care.